Jordan Pickford has just been sent off for violent conduct, and then he charged at the referee in front of his own defense, and John Stones was caught directly in the aftermath. This wasn't a minor clash, it wasn't a bit of handbags, it wasn't the media making a mountain out of a molehill. This is real. Nothing like this has happened to England this close to a World Cup opener, and there's a detail the FA still hasn't confirmed publicly. According to sources close to the camp, one camera angle from the VAR room allegedly shows exactly what the referee saw, and it's more damaging than Pickford's team is letting on right now, and the worst of it hasn't even come out yet. Over the next few minutes, you'll understand exactly what happened and why this threatens to splinter England's entire World Cup campaign before the tournament has even kicked off. When something like this happens just weeks before the World Cup, it's not just a disciplinary issue, it's a dressing room crisis, it's a test of Thomas Tuchel's authority at the exact moment he can least afford it, it's a question mark hanging over England's defensive stability when Harry Maguire, John Stones and the rest of the backline need to be bulletproof. The supporters are already fractured, the media has already chosen sides, and the backstage of this is far worse than what you're seeing on the headlines right now. It all started around the 65-minute mark in a World Cup warm-up fixture. England had already conceded from open play earlier in the match, the opposition forwards had been running at pace all afternoon, and the defense was under real pressure. Pickford had endured a difficult opening hour, positioned high up the pitch under Tuchel's possession system, and his distribution had been sloppy. Then it happened, an off-the-ball incident near the touchline. Pickford closed down an opposition forward. The contact was marginal but deliberate, an elbow, sources suggest, or a deliberate shove. The referee's whistle cut through the noise. VAR was called, 90 seconds of silence on the bench. The fourth official approached with the red card. Pickford's jaw tightened. He turned to face the referee directly. 2 strides forward, his body language shifted from frustrated to something else entirely, something confrontational. His arm rose. The gesture was sharp, accusatory. Pointing, Stones was standing 3 meters away in the defensive line, and he turned to watch. In the next frame, Pickford's momentum carried him forward, and he collided directly with his defensive partner. The dressing room erupted in disbelief. The referee stood unmoved. Pickford was escorted toward the tunnel. The supporters couldn't believe what they'd just witnessed. But to understand why this is so serious, you need to know what came before. This didn't start in that 65th minute. Pickford has endured a fractious few months. At club level, rotation, inconsistent form, questions about whether he can truly adapt to Tuchel's system. The training camp itself has been tense. The manager's demands are relentless. Younger players are pushing hard for places, and murmurs in the squad suggest that some senior figures feel sidelined in selection discussions. Stones and Pickford have history together since 2018, but recent weeks have seen subtle friction. The starting 11 is still being settled. Pickford knows his World Cup place is not guaranteed. There's a younger rival breathing down his neck, and the pressure, real, constant pressure, has been building for weeks. And stay with me, because I've saved the most controversial detail for the end. Now hold on, because this is where it gets even more serious. The dressing room has split into factions already. On one side, Pickford's allies. They're arguing that the contact was minimal, that modern football is suffocating fierce competition, that the decision has unfairly targeted him and sabotaged England's match preparation. On the other side, senior voices like Harry Kane and Jordan Henderson are understood to believe that Pickford crossed the line, that approaching a referee is indefensible, that this is exactly the kind of discipline breach Thomas Tuchel will not tolerate. John Stones is caught in the middle. He's been Pickford's defensive partner for years, but he also knows that his goalkeeper's actions have destabilized the entire squad at a moment when unity is everything. Harry Maguire has reportedly expressed concern privately. Declan Rice, the midfield anchor, is understood to be frustrated by the distraction. The younger players like Jude Bellingham and Cole Palmer are watching to see how the manager handles this, because it will set the tone for how the group operates under pressure. The reactions have been immediate and fierce. Thomas Tuchel has given no public statement yet, but the coaching staff is believed to be furious. The FA launched an immediate review, and they're facing a nightmare decision. Do they launch a separate investigation into improper conduct toward a match official? Or do they defer entirely to the referee's report? Social media went into absolute meltdown within minutes. Some supporters are defending Pickford as a passionate competitor who got a raw deal. Others are calling for his removal from the squad, arguing that this proves he's not mentally ready to lead England's defense in a World Cup. The press has already written the narrative both ways. One outlet calls it a witch hunt, another calls it a wake-up call. Reports suggest that the FA received more than 50 complaints in the first hour, split almost evenly between those demanding action and those demanding he be exonerated. And this is where it gets critical, because the clock is already ticking. If Pickford receives a ban, England must call up a replacement goalkeeper during the FIFA window, losing valuable preparation time, losing cohesion, losing rhythm just days before the opener. But if he plays without facing serious consequences, it sends a message to the entire squad that confronting officials is tolerable, and it fractures dressing room discipline at the worst possible moment. Now Thomas Tuchel is caught between 2 catastrophic decisions. If he backs Pickford publicly and contests the red card, he risks a fine from the FA, he signals to his players that they can challenge referees, and he undermines the authority structure he's spent months building. But if he distances himself from his number one, he destroys trust in the dressing room, he tells Pickford he's expendable, and he creates a toxic atmosphere weeks before the World Cup. There's also the question of John Stones. If he was genuinely injured in the collision, England loses a cornerstone of their defense. The starting 11 becomes unsettled again. The entire backline has to reorganize. England's World Cup campaign, a tournament that's meant to be Tuchel's moment, the moment the nation puts faith in a new project, now hangs by a thread. The opener is less than 3 weeks away. The supporters are already divided. The dressing room is fractured, and there's a detail that almost nobody has noticed yet. One camera angle, reportedly circulating among broadcasters but not yet released publicly, allegedly shows Stones deliberately stepping back to avoid the collision, suggesting that even in that chaotic moment, the centre-back was trying to distance himself from Pickford's actions in real time. That's the image that's going to define this story. This is a moment that changes everything for England, the weight of what's just happened, the fractures it's opened up, the questions it's raised about leadership and discipline. It's all real, and it's all unfolding right now. And look, this is far from over. This is the information going round so far. Over the next few hours, new details should drop, and they could turn this whole story on its head. Over to you. Is Pickford a victim of harsh refereeing and modern football's risk aversion? Or did his response prove he's not mentally ready to lead England's defence in a World Cup? Tell me down in the comments. And if you don't want to find out the next bombshell after everyone else, subscribe and hit the bell right now, because when this properly kicks off, you'll want to be the first to know, not the last. But here's what nobody's talking about yet, and this is the detail that could shift everything. Reports suggest that the FA has been quietly reviewing additional footage, angles that weren't broadcast, angles from the tunnel camera, audio from the VAR room that allegedly contradicts the official account of why the red was issued in the first place. According to sources close to the governing body, there's a conversation between the referee and the VAR team that's far more contentious than the public narrative suggests. It's emerged that one senior official reportedly questioned the severity of the initial contact, but the on-field referee made the call anyway. If that audio leaks, and word in the dressing room is that it will, it changes the entire calculus of Pickford's case. It gives his legal team grounds to contest the dismissal, it gives Tuchel ammunition to push back against the FA, and it fractures the already fragile trust between the clubs and the match officials heading into the World Cup. There's also the question of what happens next in the immediate hours. The FA has 48 hours to announce whether they're launching a separate investigation into improper conduct toward match officials. If they do, Pickford could face an additional ban on top of the automatic 3-match suspension that follows a red card. That's potentially 6 weeks on the sidelines. That's the entire group stage of the World Cup gone. That means Jordan Pickford, 32 caps for England, the goalkeeper who kept England in the Euro 2020 final, could miss the tournament entirely. Alternatively, if the FA decides the incident was provoked and the footage supports Pickford's version, they could overturn the red entirely. But that would humiliate the referee, it would set a catastrophic precedent, and it would tell every player in England's squad that confronting officials carries no real consequence. You see the trap Tuchel is in. The clock is ticking now. Every hour that passes without an official statement from the FA is an hour that the rumours grow darker, that the dressing room fractures a little deeper, that the narrative hardens in both directions. Reece James and Mark Guehi have reportedly been keeping their distance from Pickford at the training ground. Declan Rice and Jordan Henderson have been seen in private conversations with Tuchel. What they're saying, nobody knows, but the body language suggests concern. Only Harry Kane and Ollie Watkins have publicly maintained that they're supporting their teammate, though even that support sounds cautious. Measured, the younger players, Jude Bellingham, Cole Palmer, Kobbie Manu, are watching and learning. They're seeing how a veteran player is treated when he crosses the line. They're seeing whether loyalty trumps discipline at the highest level. And this is the brutal truth of it. Even if Pickford is exonerated, even if the footage backs him up, even if the FA overturns the red card tomorrow, the damage is done. The trust is fractured. The dressing room has split. England's World Cup preparation has been sabotaged at the exact moment it needed to be seamless. Thomas Tuchel came in with a vision, with a plan, with the backing of the nation, and in 90 seconds on a pitch in a warm-up match, that entire project has been thrown into chaos. The supporters are divided, the media is circling. And the opener, less than 3 weeks away, is approaching with an England squad that's wounded, uncertain, and fundamentally unsure of itself. This is what happens when individual impulse meets collective ambition on the biggest stage. This is what happens when one moment of frustration has the power to unravel months of careful planning. The weight of this will follow England all the way to the United States. And look, this is far from over. This is the information circulating right now. Over the next 48 hours, the FA will announce their decision, and everything could pivot on that single call. Over to you. Is Jordan Pickford the victim of a system that's gone too soft? Or did he prove in that moment that he's not mentally equipped for the pressure of a World Cup? Tell me down in the comments, and if you don't want to miss the moment the FA drops their verdict, subscribe and hit the bell right now, because that announcement could change everything for England, and you'll want to know the second it happens, not hours later.